Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Doctor Who reaction / review live stream. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a funny old week after last week's episode. We now know that there seems to be another Doctor. Obviously Jack was back last week. We had basically everything just going crazy in last week's episode of Doctor Who, and that was reflected in the live stream of last week because we were all just fangirling basically. So I've just finished the episode 6 of series 12, Praxeus, and I have some thoughts to share with you. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have got to say as well. If you are new to this live stream, then essentially the way that it works is I watch the episode, I share my thoughts, good, bad, highlights, overall, a little bit of sidetracking here and there throughout, talking to you guys, hearing what you've got to think, and hear what you've got to say as well, and discussing various parts of the episode with you in the chat. If you're watching, then please do comment in the chat. We've already got a few. We've got Jonathan Vlogs who's going straight into it. I give it a 7. Thanks for your rating straight away, Jonathan. I'm going to say at the end what my rating is. Jude H, prepare for disappointment. And then they've just commented down, it's a 5 out of 10 for them. Vinny Harris, hi there, dude. Hello, Vinny. Toxic, hello. Hello, Toxic. Mr. Dalek Emperor 2, not really interested in this episode, so watched Scream of the Schalke after. So did you watch the episode or you didn't watch the episode? Jonathan Vlogs, I enjoyed the astronaut and the policeman characters, relationship, and Yaz. Mr. Dalek Emperor, the final part. Oh, after the final part. Okay, I get you. Do you mean the final part of the Schalke? Scream of the Schalke. Cyber Doctor 1918. Hello, Cyber Doctor 1918. Doc_11. Don't know about you guys, but it was quite weak. Never got into it. You'll find out what I thought in a minute. Little wavy face from Mr. Dalek Emperor 2. Cyber Doctor 1980. It's solid 5, but could be pushed towards a 6 or higher. Okay, so it sounds to me like you guys in the chat have got a fairly consistent opinion of the episode, very similar to mine. In fact, before I say anything else, everybody who's watching, if you are not already subscribed to the channel, then please do. It's the first thing I write in my notes. If you're not subscribed and you like coming here and talking about Doctor Who every single week, being notified when the live stream gets scheduled up, notified when I start live streaming, then please do subscribe. We got quite a few people subscribing after last week's live stream, and it's really good to see that you guys are enjoying it. So I'd appreciate that if you did. We've got a couple more comments. Jacoba de Ruick, I literally was clutching my arms because I suddenly got aware of all the plastic in me. I seriously got scared. Yeah, it was something that I was a bit like, really? I didn't know whether that's a real thing or not. I assume it is. Vinny Harris, I liked the astronaut and his husband. They were convincing. Okay, interesting. Well, like I say, it sounds like a lot of your comments are quite similar to what I thought of the episode. In my opinion, I thought it was an average episode. It wasn't my favourite of the series, but it wasn't the worst. It was just kind of average. I would say probably above average for Series 11, but for Series 12, because the episodes have been so strong this year, I'd say probably about average. So, yeah, it wasn't my favourite, but it wasn't the worst one. We've got a couple more comments. Cyber Doctor 1918. Also, everyone, hit that like button and smash the notification bell. That is very true. I always forget about those bits. Like the video as well, and hit the notification bell as well. What can you do? The Whovian with the small collection. Hello. This ep was all right. It's episode to pad the series, in my opinion. A 7, but because Series 12 is really good so far. But episode 7 looks good. Yeah, it does. I've got a little bit that I want to talk about that at the end, because it does look good. Toxic wasn't as bad as Orphan 55. No, it wasn't. It was definitely better than Orphan 55. Jonathan Vlogs, all I know is tomorrow when I go to school, my biology teacher will inform me more on plastic because of this episode. Yes. Right, so what did I think was good about the episode? I appreciated how ambitious it was, and I feel that this is something that's been fairly consistent throughout the Chibnall era so far. It was very ambitious. The scale of it, the fact that there were numerous different locations around the world, numerous different characters. A lot of the Chibnall episodes, or a lot of the episodes in the Chibnall era, seem to have a good, fairly large TARDIS team. And they've already got a big TARDIS team, but they always bring people along as well. So it was ambitious in both the setting, in the story, and the amount of characters that they were trying to squeeze in. I was kind of thinking, are they going to be able to develop all of these? Because there's so many characters to try to fit in. But they did a good job, I thought. I thought the setting and the writing was good this episode. I know it was Pete McTee, I think that's how you pronounce it, who wrote Kablam last year. I don't know whether I thought the idea was as strong as Kablam. I was hoping maybe his episode this series would be better, but like I say, it was average. The TARDIS team being separate, I thought worked really well. I think it gave them time to shine. It gave each character time to breathe. I felt like I got to know Ryan a little bit better in his single bits. I felt like I was a bit disappointed that Yaz and Graham were put together. I feel like Yaz is the one who needs the most screen time on her own. But in all fairness, obviously she went down to the little, whatever that was called. It's not called a spaceship, but that area, which allowed her to kind of be her own person a little bit when they were investigating, and then the gas mask person came back to life again. I thought that was very interesting. So I liked that. I thought the TARDIS thing being separated is something that has been used in previous episodes, not as much, but it has been used and it's worked well. So I think they've utilised that really well again in this episode. What comments have we got? We've got loads of people asking, where's Benny? Benny! Doc_11. I already knew that we eat like the mass of a credit card every day, but it was, again, so pushed towards the climate debate like in Orphan 55. Of course we need to be aware, but it's getting annoying. I agree. Vinny Harris, I liked the beginning when everyone was in different places that would connect somehow. Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of like Torchwood Miracle Day almost, when towards the end they were in numerous sides of the planet, and it was all sort of connected. I thought that was quite interesting. It felt, there were parts where it didn't feel like Doctor Who. It felt like a mystery sort of program. Almost, it did feel quite Torchwoody, I thought. Cyber Doctor 1918, I still dislike the fact that after 2 minutes we're in the rush. I don't personally like that. I like about 15-20 minutes before I can, but I can live with it. I also don't let it affect my rating. Yeah, it was a good episode, I agree. I didn't know about the Kablam. I liked that. One of my faves from all of New Who. Yeah, it was written by the same guy, although it was co-written by Chris Chibnall this episode, which I thought meant that it was going to have more of an arc, more to do with the arc in it, but it didn't. So I don't know what Chris Chibnall did with this episode. Also, have you noticed that the theme this series is linked to DNA? Episode 1 and 2 was the Kasavin rewriting Barton's DNA. Episode 3 was humans' DNA was reshaped to survive nuclear winter. Doc hiding our identity this episode. What was DNA this episode? I mean, I guess it was DNA. It was kind of like, it was a sort of virus, wasn't it? Chibnall's fetish for killing old women in Series 12 is going mental. Spyfall, Orphan 55 and Fugitive. Yeah, true. Maybe that's the story arc. So those were the 3 things that I really liked about it. The ambition, the setting, the writing, the TARDIS theme being separate. I thought that last point, I thought that worked really, really well for the episode. What wasn't I as keen on? I wasn't overly intrigued by the story. It was good, but the side characters and the narrative didn't really make me care about them, or it. It was kind of an episode, and I was watching it, and I was watching it, and I was following it, but it didn't necessarily make me care. I mean, the only bit that I really felt like, whoa, this could go south very quickly, is when Yaz started being a bit reckless and decided to teleport she didn't even know where they'd teleport. And And I thought, this could go south. And I thought, this is interesting, because what if the Doctor turns up to where was it, Tokyo, Hong Kong, and suddenly Yaz isn't there, and Yaz can't get hold of her. I thought that could be really interesting, but it didn't. So that was a shame. I just didn't feel like it was a story or characters that I was overly bothered about. I mean, this series has had some good side characters, particularly people like Nikola Tesla, where you actually care about them. I mean, even last week's episode, we cared about Ruth, but I just didn't feel like the side characters this episode were that interesting. They seemed very generic. Meh, yeah, that's what I'd say. Doc_11, I'm also wondering, the writers said they wanted to go for two-parters. Only one so far, and the next episode doesn't look like one either. As far as I'm aware, I think it's the opening two-parter and the closing two-parter. I don't think. I was under the impression that we were only going to get two-parters this series. Dan is in the chat. Hey James, hey Dan, thanks for joining us. I'm just talking about what I didn't like as much. We've already done the positives, but I'm just talking about what I didn't like as much. The Whovian with the small collection. I think the crew, the villain woman this episode was a Gallifreyan before they discovered time travel, because we know she wasn't human. Yeah, I thought they might be going somewhere with that when they said, "Oh, you're not human." I thought, what is she then? Is she gonna turn into a sea devil or something? And it didn't go anywhere, which I thought was a bit of a shame. So yeah, story, characters weren't overly interesting to me. I've also written that I'd be lying if I didn't say that I rolled my eyes when plastic waste was mentioned and that rumour came true, because we all know that was rumoured months and months ago that there was going to be a story about plastic waste. People thought that the Autons could have been a good monster in it. People thought that the Sea Devils could have been a good monster in it. The Autons were mentioned, but I just thought, oh, like another episode where they're just ranting. And in all fairness, it was a lot stronger and it did it a lot better than Orphan 55 did. But it did still have that tone of nagging. And I feel like that's something that some of the episodes in Chibnall's era feel a little bit like. I mean, for example, racism in Rosa worked really, really well. Didn't feel like that was naggy at all. But Orphan 55 in this episode, you do feel a little bit like, oh, like I don't want to be educated. I mean, I get it. I get that they want to educate people. That's fine. But I just feel like they could do it better. I just feel like it does sometimes feel a bit like a lesson. And you're there going like, oh, like, I don't really care. It almost makes you care less, the fact that you know, especially when you're when you're not a kid and you kind of get the point that they're trying to make. It's kind of a bit like, yes, I know, I get it. It's like, it feels like someone's nagging at you almost a little bit. Dan thinks that the episode was okay, looked good, but barely held my attention. Yeah, I that kind of touches on the point that I just made, where it just wasn't that interesting. Cyber Doctor 1918, next episode looks good. After Spyfall, the only other main one I was excited for was the Judoon, but after the mid-series trailer, I'm more excited for this than Cybermen, which I am excited for. Yeah, I've got to admit, I'm looking forward to the Cyberman episode. That's what I'm looking forward to now. The Whovian with a small collection. I'm glad it wasn't the Autons or the Sea Devils. Interesting point. So you feel that you wanted it to be something new, I guess, did you? I did think that if it does turn out to be the Autons or the Sea Devils, it's like, how many reoccurring monsters have we had in this series? Like, it almost becomes too far the other way, where it becomes a bit too reliant on the show's past. Cyber Doctor 1918, currently working on a thumbnail for my review of the episode for my main channel. Wish I could use it on here, but for some reason my phone won't let me log in. Also, episode-wise, great sets, but only like two. Only like two what? So yeah, I just felt that it was done better than Orphan 55, but it did feel a little bit naggy still. That's something that I picked up on. So those were the two things that I wasn't as keen on. In terms of highlights, I really liked the opening with the shot of Earth with the Doctor's voiceover. It felt very Capaldi-esque, like something that would start at the beginning of like Oxygen, when it starts with the Doctor talking about space. I I liked that. I thought it made her feel like the Doctor. It made her feel like she was wise and she'd lived for thousands of years. And it did remind me of Capaldi, and that's why I liked it. So that was nice. Another highlight was Yaz taking her initiative. Although it didn't come to much, which was a shame. But the idea that she was like, no, I want to go back. I want to grab this thing. Come back in an hour. I thought she could have done it in 15 minutes, to be honest. I don't know why they had to give her an hour. But I thought it was nice to see her kind of taking that initiative. And it was refreshing. And the fact that she had that other girl and it was kind of like her companion, I did wonder whether they were backdooring a kiss between them two. I thought that maybe that could have been the time that Yaz's secret, which apparently is going to be a big part of Series 12, would come to fruition. I thought that maybe Yaz might, alone with her, admit, oh, I kind of like you, I'm gay, maybe, I don't know, but it didn't, so they could have done that, just an idea. A point that I made in my notes is, I wonder, and feel free to comment about this, you might potentially have theories of your own. Yaz has been kidnapped a lot in this series. Now, I think it's for two reasons. I think reason one, it could be because Chris Chibnall is trying to give her more stuff and he struggles to write her dialogue in a big group, so he just basically, she's the one that gets taken every time and it gives her some time to shine on her own. It could be that. Or it could be that it's intentional. She got taken into the Kassavians universe in the first two-parter. She got taken onto the ship in the Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. It just feels like there's something happening with Yaz, and I don't know whether it's intentional, and it might not be, but it feels like it could be intentional, and I think it could be interesting if it is. Let's have a look what people are saying. Doc 11 actually liked Orphan 55 more than this. The whole plot of this seemed pointless. Also, why were the birds the only species going crazy? Interesting theory. Wasn't it the fact that they were eating the plastic? Was that what it was? Because they eat something in the sea? Maybe? I think that was said. Jonathan Vlogs, I think because they're promoting the Cyberman episode means that when it comes to these filler episodes, it means we're not going to enjoy the fillers. Yeah, I agree. There is a point that I'm making in a minute where I was talking about that. The opening reminded Dr. 11 of Listen. The Whovian with the small collection. The opening reminded me of the Sarah Jane Adventures episode, Sky at the beginning. Yeah, I get that. I get that as well. Cyber Doctor 1918, the sets scene were great, but apart from TARDIS and the locations like the beach, there were only two sets, the plastic tunnel and the warehouse. Also, acting from all around is being stepped up, which I love. Yeah, I agree. Vinnie Harris is a sucker for Doctor narration. Doc 11 wants to bring back Doctor narration every episode. Cyber Doctor 1918, if Yaz being kidnapped is intentional, what do you think it's about? Also, the birds were the only thing going crazy because of the water. Yeah, I thought so. I don't know. There's lots of theories flying about Yaz. I mean, the fact that the Master said in the first episode, stick with me, Yaz, because I control everything. Could that be related? Could it be the fact that she hasn't necessarily been the same since she was transported to the Kassavian universe? Whether something happened to her there that we didn't see, maybe? I don't know. It just seems like she's the one who's being kidnapped a lot. Is it just me? I mean, 3 times. We're on episode 6. 3 times this series she's been kidnapped. And the others haven't. So it's not like they've all had their fair share. It's been Yaz. Dan, I thought the infection looked similar to Tim Shaw. I thought for a second there might be a connection. Yeah, I did think that for a second as well. Jonathan Vlogs, I'm happy pre-titles are only in 2-parters. Yeah, I wonder whether that's a conscious decision. There's been a few episodes where I felt like there could have been cold opens. This episode, it could have started with the backpackers, and then the birds flying towards her, and then it goes into the title sequence. I do feel like they could do more cold opens. I feel like it worked well back in the older series. So my highlights: Doctor's opening, Yaz taking her initiative. I do wonder whether something is going on with Yaz. I mean, Jude has just made a very valid point, which is the Kasavins can alter DNA. Maybe she's a Kasavin spy. See, yeah, that could work, I agree. But the only thing is that it's never really been done before, and I wonder whether it would make you feel differently about the companion. For example, if Yaz turned out to be a Kasavin spy at the end of Series 12, would it make you feel differently about her character? Would it make you not like her as much if she turned out to be somewhat villain? That's the only thing. I don't know whether they'd want to do that. Because the companions should be likeable, they should be relatable. And if some twist like that happens, I don't know whether it would work. Cyber Doctor 1918 wants cold opens on all episodes. The Whovian with a small collection. Yaz in this series is the Daphne from Scooby-Doo. What does that analogy mean? Because I used to love Scooby-Doo, but I don't know what that means. So, what did I think overall of the episode? I thought it was an average episode. The problem with having a story arc, which is so big, like Series 12's story arc is the fact that the episodes don't feel that great. You're almost setting yourself up to be disappointed when there isn't arc-related stuff in the episode. And I was kind of thinking, okay, it's co-written by Chris Chibnall, maybe there might be some hints towards a story arc, and there wasn't, and it kind of leaves you feeling a bit like, after the chaos of last week, and the chaos of where I imagine the series is going to end up by episode 9 and 10, it almost makes you feel like, come on, I'm almost waiting for the Cyberman episode now, and I feel like that's kind of a bad thing with the way they've marketed it. I mean, they've marketed it well because they made me excited for the weeks to come, but it's made me kind of think that's the episode I want to watch, not necessarily this week's episode or next week's episode. Cyber Doctor 1918. Next episode doesn't just look interesting because the companions look worried, and from what we saw from the mid-series trailer, it looks flipping scary, and I love it. Yeah, it does look very good next week, I've got to admit. Yaz kidnapped all the time. Daphne is the one kidnapped all the time in Scooby-Doo. Good point. Cyber Doctor 1918. Maybe that's why Yaz keeps offering to go alone, because she knows something is wrong and is being made to do something, but having her not be near the Doctor halts that. Could be. Maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I do feel like it's something that needs addressing. I mean, it could just be a coincidence, but I feel like it isn't. I feel like it's intentional. Skinner21, hello again. Hello, Skinner21. Vinny Harris, what did you make of the swarms of birds attacking? I found it effective. Yeah, I thought it was good. I didn't have a problem with it. Doc_11, also wondering if Orphan 55 was the episode where the cast stated they were totally scared, or maybe it was this episode. I think it was Orphan 55, because I saw an interview with Mandip Gill, and she said those were the scariest monsters she's encountered. Tyler Hopkins, I appreciated the message the episode was sending, but it was boring. Yeah, I've touched on that a little bit. It wasn't bad, but it was definitely not as interesting as some episodes this series have been. Stories like Rosa and Fugitive of the Jadoon have what I call Genesis of the Dalek syndrome, where they're so good that they set up all the following stories to be crap. Yeah, very good point. The fact that there's been such strong episodes, it does mean that every episode you're expecting to be great, and when there's one that's average, it kind of leaves you feeling a bit flat. The Whovian with a small collection, episode 7 may have one of 3 villains I've wanted to return for ages. Interesting. Cyber Doctor 1918, can we have an hour-long live stream on the final episode? I'm sure we could maybe arrange that. If it's big enough and there's enough to talk about, then I don't see why not. We could potentially have a bit of a reflection on the series of a whole, potentially. And especially if anything happened to the companions in the final episodes, I feel like there will be a lot to talk about. So maybe, if it feels right, then yeah, I'll live stream for as long as you want. Vinny Harris, I'm all for more scares in the show. I love it when it goes darker. in darker areas or nightmare-inducing. Yeah, I agree. Skinner21, I think the last 3 episodes of the series are going to be about the Cybermen, Timeless Child, Ruth, and Jack. 3-parter. Maybe. Although Chris Chibnall has said that Jack's not in Series 12 anymore. So I wonder whether he maybe is in the special, or maybe he's just blatantly lying and he is in the finale. It would be nice to see him in the Cyberman episode, seeing as he was foreshadowing it. But yeah, I would say that this episode was about a 5 out of 10. I was contemplating giving it a 6, but I thought, you know what, 5 out of 10 is still not bad. It's halfway there. And for average, I'd say 5. Obviously, it's half of 10. It probably is about 5. Maybe a 5.5 at a push. Jude thinks that episode 7 could feature the Dream Lord. We know he's still out there. That could be interesting. Colin Merritt. It's amazing how these characters are able to understand and fly an alien spaceship with no prior knowledge, and how they're all scientists now. I did think it was strange how they just started doing random stuff to the spaceship, but they did say, I think it was kind of, I felt like it was a bit jokey, so I didn't mind it. Dan, do you think Yaz not knowing about the YouTube character may hint at your point about not knowing about the blogger? There must be something going on with her. I don't know. There could be. I mean, we've been promised a Yaz story arc, and there is none in sight. We know that Yaz has a secret. We know that she's going to be more developed, but it has kind of felt, she's had more to do, but it has felt very similar to Series 11 in terms of Yaz. And I just wonder whether maybe by a story arc, maybe Chris Chibnall is saying something will happen at the end and it will make you see the series completely differently. So there's a story arc with Yaz, but you almost don't know it till the end. Maybe. Cyber Doctor, yay, hour-long live stream possibly. Yeah, I wanted it because of After the Series theories and companions, or just twists and possible special teaser, which I'm 99% sure we'll be getting. Yeah, maybe an hour-long live stream for the final episode, or maybe the penultimate episode. Cyber Will, when do you think we'll see the new Doctor again? Honestly, finale. I don't think we're going to see her before the finale. Doc_11, if Jack isn't in this season anymore, I'll start flipping tables. That would be such a missed opportunity. Yeah, I think it's just that them trying to keep him a secret. I just don't know whether they'd have been able to if he was in the finale as well. They did well to keep that bit from last episode a secret. Jude, I pretty much give it a 5 as well. It just felt bland and unoriginal. It lacked tension and the characters were so dull and boring. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't amazing. It was just good, I'd say. Cyber Doctor 1918, yeah, I think the Dream Lord, but maybe like a stronger, scarier villain. Someone's talking about the black, I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's something from Classic Who, which I'd never heard of. Dark Guardian or the Black Guardian or something. People think is going to be in the next episode. I don't even know who that is, but sounds interesting. The Whovian with a small collection. Episode 7 villain could be Black Guardian, the Trickster, the Nightmare Man. What was the Nightmare Man? Is that something I should know about? It rings a bell. Cyber Doctor. Can I just say thank you for answering everyone who comments in the stream? Not many do that. I commend you, sir. Thank you very much. I like reading all the comments. It's interesting. I don't like to miss any. Tyler Hopkins. Always makes me laugh how in the last episode Captain Jack said, you don't know what a Cyberman is yet? Even though they've invaded Earth. Yeah, I know. It just gets retconned, doesn't it? But it'd be a bit boring if all the companions were like, oh my god, yeah, aliens. I've seen them loads of times. The Whovian with a small collection. Jack better be in the special if he isn't in the rest of the series. I think he'll either be in Series 12, special, or if not, definitely Series 13. They won't bring him back for that, and he'll say, I'll see her soon when she needs me, and then not see him for 2 years. We'll see him. We'll see him soon, I think. The Nightmare Man is from the Sarah Jane Adventures. Yes, you're right. I remember that. Cyber Will. It has its moments. The comedy was good, as well as I really enjoyed the direction. Sarah Jane Adventures Series 4 Episode 1 was called The Nightmare Man. Bloody good episode. Was that the one in the haunted house? I remember there being an episode that was really good, and I think it was that one. So yeah, next week's looks good. Although I do wonder, this is another theory, I wonder whether it's intentional that every episode of this series has been on Earth. I was thinking it when the episode was on, and I was thinking, could it be something to do with the fact that in episode 1, the Doctor was talking about multiple Earths? Maybe we're on a parallel Earth. Maybe that's why there's another Doctor. I don't know. The creature, Cyber Doctor 1918, the creature that grabbed that woman looked scary. Nightmare Man was from Sarah Jane. Also, Yaz looked genuinely terrified, and in that episode with Ryan's basketball friend and Yaz's sister, yeah, they're back home, I think, which is interesting because I like it when they're back home. I like having Yaz's family in it. Ryan's friend, who I don't even know the name of, is he just called Ryan's friend? Toby Harris, very good episode in my opinion. Next week's looks more promising though. Very good summary. I'm just gonna have a drink. Cyber Doctor, can't wait for next week's stream. I think it's going to be a good episode, like really good. I'm very excited for it. If you can't tell, yeah, I can tell. I think Ruth might be the Rani, say Skinner 21. Could be, but like I say, Chibnall has said she is definitely the Doctor. He could be lying. We haven't established like Moffat whether Chibnall just lies through his teeth. If he does, it'll be very easy to know to not take anything seriously for series 13. Cyber Doctor 1918. No, the Nightmare Man was the episode. Was like getting haunted. No Nightmare House, but yes, the haunted house eps scared the crap out of me as a kid and still does. Tyler Hopkins. It's the episode where Sarah Jane was an old lady on a scooter. Oh yeah, I don't really remember that one, but I remember the bit of her being an old lady. Cyber Doctor 1918, gulp. The Whovian with a small collection. Nightmare Man, Luke is leaving for college, yet he starts to dream. Yes, I remember that now. I definitely watched that. I just don't remember it very well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say, to be honest with you. It was an okay episode. Average. Not terrible, just not brilliant. Next week's episode looks much more interesting, in my opinion. Dan, I think the parallel Earth theory may tie in with Yaz not knowing the vlogger. It could be. That could be the case. It's definitely a valid point. If the Nightmare Man, this could link it with Yaz to create the nightmare of family hating. Yeah, it could be. Meh. I don't know. I don't know whether that's too complicated. I don't know whether they'd bring a Sarah Jane villain into the series. They might do, but I feel like they've had too many returning characters. I feel like it needs to be something new. So anyway, I'm going to end it there. I hope you enjoyed watching the stream this week. Thanks for watching in. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said last week, like I said at the beginning, if you're not subscribed and you're watching this and you enjoy this kind of thing, please subscribe. I live stream every Sunday to talk about Doctor Who. And I really enjoy hearing about your thoughts in the comments as well. The actor who played Ron Weasley should be the next Doctor because he's ginger, says Skinner21. Cyber Doctor 1918. What is this about Yaz not knowing the blogger? Am I missing something? She didn't know who that blogger was, the holiday blogger, who was the traveller, the girl who was travelling with the other girl. We might be looking into it too much. It's difficult to say. Tyler Hopkins, the BBC America page had Ruth's Doctor and Jacoby's opening. The Watch merged together. That's interesting. Maybe it's something to do with the Master then. I can't wait to find out. It'll be good to find out. I'm really excited. Episode 7 next week, so we're closing in on the finale. It could be the last episode before the 3-parter, if there is a 3-parter, so that could be very interesting. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like the video, subscribe, comment. If you are watching this and it's not live anymore, I still reply to all the comments, so it's really good to hear what you think. Toxic says, bye, can't wait for the next episode, neither can I. Cyber Doctor 1918, Tyler, that was just because of the chameleon reversal. Yeah, it could have been. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to see you next Sunday, assuming that it's at the same time, around 8:30. Follow my social medias. My Twitter is in the description, so follow that and you can find all the information about my next upcoming live stream. I will see you next week for that, for Can You Hear Me, I think is the episode. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week.